My friend tricked me into wearing white to her wedding as a friendship test and kicked me out and humiliated me in front of everyone when I failed it. I, 20F, met my friend Charlotte, 21F, when I moved into my college dorm in August 2020. We got along well, shared ideas for how we wanted to divide space and keep things clean/organized, and had many similar interests. Within a month, we were studying and hanging out together, and I considered her a good friend. I also met her now husband Josh, 22M. They seemed like a cute and loving couple, and I was very happy when they got engaged on Christmas 2020 after 3.5 years together. Charlotte has spent the last 18 months planning this wedding down to the last detail. I won't say she's obsessive, but it's been intense, and I've tried to help her as best I can with making appointments, managing stress, etc. I also gave her $250 to help pay for the wedding. Her family could only afford part of it, which isn't included in the wedding gift I'm going to give her. A month before the wedding, I was still trying to decide exactly what to wear. I wanted something nice because Charlotte said she would have a photographer, videographer, and wedding painter. I knew Charlotte had a vision for her wedding, and I wanted her as in control as possible for all the details of her special day, so I asked her which dress out of the 3 I'd narrowed it down to I should wear. She asked if I would actually pull out all my dresses, so I did. She ended up narrowing it down to one of my picks, along with a dress I had firmly put in the no pile for being white. It was a wedding, after all. She told me both dresses were lovely, but that she preferred the white one. I asked if she was sure, and she said yes, and even picked out a pair of pink and white heels from her closet to go with my dress. I figured that was that. Fast forward to last week, I show up in the dress about half an hour before the ceremony. I get some weird looks, but no one says anything. In hindsight, this is when I should have realized something wasn't right. When Charlotte comes out of her dressing room for some last-minute pictures, she looks shocked to see me and then starts turning red. She pulls me aside and starts going off on me immediately about wearing the dress to her wedding. I'm stunned. I ask her what the problem is, because she picked the dress out, and she told me it was a friendship test and that if we were real friends, I wouldn't have worn a white dress or her shoes to her wedding. I started laughing because I honestly thought it was a joke, and she screamed at me that I ruined her effing wedding and to get the F out. I flat out told her she was crazy and left, not wanting to fight anymore and not knowing how to deal with what happened. I grabbed my wedding gift to them on the way out. My phone has been flooded with texts, voicemails, and social media notifications from her friends, and her family about what a jerk I am, but I honestly don't see what I did wrong. Am I really the jerk here? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. She told me it was a friendship test. Yep, she tested whether or not she was your friend, and guess what? She's not. When someone is mad at you because they lied to you and you believe them, that person is the jerk, regardless of what conventions exist in the broader culture about the colors of dresses. Your friend lied to your face and embarrassed you in public just to see if she could. Commenter 2. I was super ready to say you're the jerk, but this chick picked out the dress as a friendship test? That's absolutely bananas. She's an attention-seeking psycho, and I'd say stay as far away from her and any of her flying monkeys as possible. If there are any mutuals you don't want to give up without a fight, maybe make a statement about what she did and how inappropriate her actions were to trick you. Downvoted commenter 3. You're the jerk. Even if your friend said it was okay to wear white, you should not have worn the dress. I mean, come on, it's common sense not to wear white to a wedding. The whole friendship test thing is total BS, so your friend sounds very immature, but even though she said to wear the dress, you did the wrong thing by actually wearing it. I don't know why weddings are such a magnet for drama, but even if your friend didn't react that way, there would have been issues with the other guests. As you saw, the guests were staring at you, and not in a nice way. You're the jerk for knowing better than to wear white to a wedding, and your friend, she is also a jerk. Her behavior is ridiculous. Ops response. I wasn't getting dirty looks, just curious ones. I asked Charlotte multiple times and cited the rule, but she pressed that she wanted me in white. I was only doing what she asked. Downvoted commenter 3. I do understand that. I get where you are coming from, but still, you should not have worn that color. It seems like Charlotte was trying to set you up to embarrass you at her own wedding, and you fell for it. The reason why I say you're the jerk is because you should have known better, not because I think you are the true jerk in this situation. Charlotte is the true jerk, and she clearly isn't your real friend. Ops response. Was I supposed to read her mind? Her opinion for her own wedding overrides social conventions. It also wasn't her only non-traditional choice. She did a few other things that you shouldn't do, so I thought that meant she was being genuine. Aside from, me asking a dozen times to make sure and trusting her as my friend. Downvoted commenter 4. If you are not willing to listen, why are you here? People are explaining why you look bad. No matter how this happened, you still wore white to a wedding. You cannot change how people perceived you. You knew better and you still went. You can try and share screenshots, but I suspect everyone is over your drama. Everyone sucks here, and yes, you are a part of everybody. Op's response: I didn't know better. She told me it was okay. She told me she wanted me to wear the white dress. She even gave me heels to match. I understand in hindsight, knowing now that I was set up and others were not told white was okay, that I looked bad. I'm trying to explain that I was specifically following the orders of the bride and was under the impression and direction that what I was doing was expected and wanted. Had I actually thought, the day of the wedding, that I was doing something wrong, I wouldn't have worn it. I checked in with her over a dozen times, and she told me it would make her happy for me to wear the dress. Op adds an edit to her post. Quite a few people have said you're the jerk / everyone sucks here because you should know not to wear white anyway, and I just want to clarify that I brought this point up to Charlotte more than once while asking if she was sure, and she insisted that I wear the white dress. She said I would look lovely and that she wanted me to look my best for her wedding because she wanted very nice pictures / videos. I would not have worn this dress if she had not assured me multiple times that it was what she wanted. Op adds a second edit to her post. Someone made a comment about how if the bride is wearing white, I should at least be prepared for the weird glances. The bride didn't even wear white. That was another non-traditional thing she did, she wore blue. Update 6 days later. Okay, it's been a crazy few days since I posted that. I had to wait until I was home to read all of the comments, and they just kept pouring in. Thank you to everyone who gave me feedback on why they thought I was or was not the jerk. I texted Charlotte the day after making the post, sometime around 4 p.m., and told her she had 48 hours to tell her friends / family the truth and get them to stop sending me hateful messages, or I'd tell them the truth myself. She told me I had no proof and that no one would believe me. I should have just gone ahead and posted proof, but I wanted things to be ended as diplomatically and non-dramatically as possible. I called her husband around lunchtime 2 days later to see if he could talk some sense into her, and that's when things got weird. I had him on speaker and was recording the convo for extra evidence in case he knew about the dress thing. At this point, I didn't know if he did or didn't. It turns out he did, but when I tried to convince him to talk Charlotte down, he tried to talk me down, saying I needed to let it go and just admit I was wrong so everyone could move on. He said, Charlotte can be a little dramatic, you know that, she loves attention. She'll forgive you if you apologize. I told him I didn't do anything wrong, but he said, I know, but just suck it up and apologize anyway. That's what I do. I told him I wasn't going to apologize and they only had a few hours left before I told the truth for them, and then he offered to sleep with me as an apology. I told him to F off and hung up. I waited out the remaining bit of those 48 hours, and then I took to Facebook and posted screenshots of that conversation plus the couple of times I checked in with her about the dress by text, featuring dates / timestamps. I also added the recording of her husband hitting on me. That was Friday evening. Now it's Monday morning, and I've had to block Charlotte, her husband, and a few of their friends / family who still support them and are cross with me about trying to ruin their marriage. Most people have reached out to apologize, but I'm honestly just thankful this is all over. Hoping my social circle can go back to normal after this and that this will turn into another funny story I can tell friends in the future. Top / relevant comments. Commenter. That marriage will be over within a year. You are smart to just cut that entire family and any friends still supporting them out of your life and move on. I'm glad you were able to show receipts to prove how horrible they are. Commenter 2. I wouldn't be 20 again for anything. These children getting married have no idea what they're in for. Not saying all young marriages fail, obviously they don't, but all these Reddit stories? Not looking good, in my opinion. But who am I to talk? I was that dumb kid who got married at 20. I had a miserable 5 years with that man before it ended dramatically. Once again, not for all the money in the land would I go back to being 20. Op adds an edit to her post. Just a note because a lot of people have brought up the $250. No, I haven't gotten it back, but I did send her and her husband a Venmo request for the money. I'd also like to make it clear to those arguing about it, I didn't give Charlotte the money because she asked for it. I donated it of my own volition because I knew she still had part of the wedding left to pay for, and I wanted to take a tiny bit of stress off her in that area since I could afford to. Her family wasn't covering 3/4 because it was too expensive. It's because they believe that when you get married, you should cover some of the costs yourself as a recognition of the kind of commitment you're making. Charlotte and Josh weren't struggling to afford things, I just wanted to be a good friend because we'd become so close, and she was with me through a couple of very hard things these past 2 years. It hurts a lot to have lost her as a friend. She had become the sister I'd always wanted growing up, and it really feels like I lost a family member here.